Hey there guys, and we are live. Just bear with me. Thank you so much for being here on this Wednesday night live stream on Review Flicks. I do appreciate you guys being here. So we're going to jump into 4 different movie topics for tonight's live stream. Let's have a quick look at those let's have a look at those topics and see what we're going to be diving into. So to start off with, we're going to take a look at this, confirmed by producer, Pirates of the Caribbean reboot in the works. So we're going to be talking about the upcoming Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. I love that franchise, can't wait to get stuck back into that. Then we're going to be taking a look at a production update for The Batman. Obviously, The Batman, we've not really heard much about it in regards to the part 2 of The Batman. And it looks like we have an update as to when production is going to begin. Then we're going to be moving on to this. We're going to be moving on to reactions to the first Omen, this upcoming horror movie that's in the Omen universe to do with, the Antichrist. And apparently it's really, really good based on these reviews. I can't wait to jump in and see what they have to say about this movie. Something I've been looking forward to for a long time. Then our main topic for tonight's stream, we're going to be taking a look at Godzilla, Kong, The New Empire, and its anticipated global box office for this coming Easter weekend. Hopefully, it goes on to do amazingly well and it gets a really good box office because I want this MonsterVerse franchise to continue into the future. So let's hope it really does make money. Guys, if you're interested, make sure you go out and support it with your hard-earned money. But anyway, guys, let's go back and let's start off with the first topic, which is this. So, confirmed by the producer, Pirates of the Caribbean reboot is in the works. So we've been hearing about this for the past few weeks, that, Pirates of the Caribbean is going to be doing a reboot, and there's going to be a female lead. But there's a lot of discussion up in the air as to who's going to be leading the franchise, with a couple of names being passed around, which we're going to dive into in this article. And by the way, this news comes to us from comicflicknews.com. So, initially poised for a female-led revival, with Margot Robbie, recent whispers suggest a new actress may be stepping into the spotlight. So, Jerry Bruckheimer confirms Pirates of the Caribbean reboot with a new cast. Johnny Depp is out as Jack Sparrow. Yeah, it kind of sucks to hear that. Obviously, Jack Sparrow was let go from Disney after the whole situation with him and Amber Heard. That's a whole long story we don't need to get into. But he was kind of the face of the franchise. The story kind of revolved around him and, Captain Jack Sparrow. And the fact that he's not going to be there is going to be such a shame. It's going to feel like the heart of the franchise is missing. Can they reboot and reinvent the franchise around a new actor or actress? It's hard to tell at this point, but I'm definitely going to try and, leave my expectations at the door. And I'm going to see if they can sort of win me over when it comes to a new lead actor. So, longtime producer of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, Jerry Bruckheimer, has officially confirmed that the iconic series is set for a reboot with an all-new cast. In a recent interview with CB.com, in an interview with CB.com, we'll just say that, Bruckheimer hinted at the challenges of casting, drawing parallels to the upcoming Top Gun sequel. He stated, you really don't know, but we're going to reboot Pirates, so that's easier to put together because you don't have to wait for certain actors. You don't know, you really don't know, but we're going to reboot Pirates, so that's easier to put together because you don't have to wait for certain actors. So it sounds like they did have a particular actor in mind, but they don't want to have to wait around for that person, so they're going to reboot it and bring in new actors. That's what it sounds like from this quote here. Very strange, but I guess they have a plan going forward. So, this revelation comes amid swirling rumours about Disney's decision to part ways with Johnny Depp. That was a massive mistake, especially following the controversy involving Amber Heard. Reports suggest that Disney opted for a Margot Robbie-led female-centric Pirates of the Caribbean movie over the traditional 6th sequel, especially signalling Depp's exit from the franchise. It's a good thing to reboot a franchise after a certain time period as well, because once you get to a certain amount of sequels, I think it's like almost a scientific fact that when you get to a certain amount of sequels, people begin to lose interest when they hear that it's like the 6th, 7th, 8th installment in a franchise. People become tired of the tropes and stuff, but if you reboot the franchise, kind of reinvent it, re-image it, kind of repackage it, put a nice, neat bow on top, then people are more likely to come back to it. That's what happened with the Scream franchise. When it came to Scream 6, they kind of just called it Scream and kind of reinvented the franchise ever so slightly. And it kind of worked out for them, although most of the movie was pretty much the same as the other ones. But that's probably a bad example. But yeah, like I'm saying, just reboot the franchise, reinvent it for a new generation, and hopefully it will bring in new audiences and they can continue to create, a great Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Because those earlier movies were so fun. I loved them. Swashbuckling adventure, pirates on the high seas, just doing piratey stuff. That's all you kind of needed. And it was just really fun, those movies. I really loved them. So as the tides of change sweep through the Pirates universe, fans eagerly await further updates on this bold new direction for the beloved series. Yeah, it'd be so interesting to see who they get cast in the lead roles, and where they're going to go with the franchise. How are they going to sort of make it different from what came before it? Where are they going to take it? What's the story going to be? That's going to be so interesting to find out. But we have a fan-made poster here of Margot Robbie, what she could potentially look like in the series if she was cast. This comes to us from Instagram, Diamond Dead. So if you want to look up more of this person's work, go ahead. Their hashtag is Diamond Dead, or their username, whichever you want to call it. And yeah, this picture looks awesome. Seeing Margot Robbie as a pirate in Pirates of the Caribbean, I think she would be incredible. She's a well-talented actress, and I think she would come in and do a great job. But we'll have to see if she does in fact land the role in the Pirates movie going forward. So, will the reboot be a female lead? Personally, I don't really care. Male, female, doesn't really bother me. As long as the characters are written well and the plot is good, I don't really care, who leads the movie, in all honesty. Despite previous reports suggesting otherwise, a fresh rumour has surfaced indicating that Disney is still committed to bringing a female-centric Pirates of the Caribbean movie to the big screen. Margot Robbie's earlier statement in February seemed to imply a shift in Disney's plans, but whispers now suggest a different trajectory. According to the latest speculation, Disney is eyeing Ayo Edebiri, known for her work on The Big Mouth, Clone High, The Bear, and most recently as the voice of April O'Neil in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem animated movie, for a leading role in the upcoming Pirates adventure. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know anything about this actress. I can't really talk to her talent or what she's done before. I haven't really seen her in anything. I've seen, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. I had no idea she was voicing April O'Neil in that movie. But other than that, I have no exposure to this actress whatsoever. She could be world class. I really don't know. So it's hard for me to speak to whether she would be a good casting or not. People may enjoy her. I don't know. But like I say, because I haven't had any exposure, it's hard for me to comment. But it's interesting that her name is kind of in there with Margot Robbie as potentially leading the Pirates franchise going forward. So it's high on the Disney priority list. Walt Disney Studios Motion Picture Production President Sean Bailey also said back in June of last year that rebooting the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise was a priority for Disney. Absolutely. It's a cash cow. It's a 4-quadrant movie, swashbuckling adventure on the high seas. There's a lot of people that love the Pirates of the Caribbean, the merchandise that comes with it, the clothing, everything. It's just a cash cow and generates a lot of money for Disney. So, of course, it's going to be a priority. Quote, "We think we have a really good idea. Exciting story that honours the films that have come before it, but also have something new to say," Bailey told the New York Times. It is reported that there have been a couple of different scripts with various writers attached to Pirates of the Caribbean reboot at one time or another. So it sounds like they've had writers come in and then leave for whatever reason, which isn't a good sign. Having writers kind of coming and going is never a good sign. So is there a bit of turmoil going on behind the scenes that we don't actually know about? There could possibly be something like that going on, but I'm sure we would hear about it in due course if there is. So we'll have to wait and see what Disney has in store. The female-led Disney movies haven't been all that successful, and Disney CEO Bob Iger is reported to have said Disney is bringing back the boys, so unless Disney simply doesn't care if the reboot is a success, that's a ridiculous thing to say. Of course they care if it's a success. If they're spending like $200 million on production and then, 50, 60 million on marketing, then of course, they care about generating money from it. It should probably strongly consider how it approaches the reboot. Yeah, I mean, fans are very, very wary about what Disney are doing in this day and age, especially with all the woke stuff that Disney is putting out at the moment. People are very, very choosy when it comes to Disney content. So they better be very, very careful on how they market this content going forward, what they choose to do with it, because if Disney does one wrong thing, it causes so much controversy online, especially being in the film circles like what we are. You see Disney do the wrong casting or the wrong storyline or the wrong plot. It just causes controversy all over the place, and it's the last thing you want when you're trying to promote a movie. But guys, let me know what you think about this. Are you excited for more Pirates of the Caribbean movies if they go back and reboot the series with a female-led cast? Potentially having Ayo Edebiri. I have no exposure, but maybe you guys have. And, you know, what would you think about her being in Pirates of the Caribbean? And what would you think about Margot Robbie as well participating in Pirates of the Caribbean going forward? Leave all your comments down in the comment section, and I would love to hear what you have to say about Pirates of the Caribbean. So guys, with that down, let's move on to our second topic of tonight's stream. So we're going to take a look at this, The Batman Part 2. Where has it been? What's going on with it? These have been questions that fans have been asking now for months and months and months. We haven't heard anything about it. And it seems like they were kind of taking their time. And, you know, I think it was the writers and actors strike that kind of put a spanner in the works. And now we're finally getting updates on the production for Part 2. So, this article, production update for the Batman sequel following a significant delay. So, fans eagerly awaiting the sequel to The Batman are in for a lengthy wait, but a recent report sheds light on the upcoming production schedule. So finally, we're getting some news to clear up kind of what's going on with this production. According to insider Jeff Snyder, principal photography for The Batman Part 2 is set to commence in April of 2025. This timeline provides director Matt Reeves and his team ample time to refine scripts and cast the film. However, don't expect any official casting announcements until fall. Stay tuned for further updates as the sequel of the superhero hit takes shape. Yeah, guys, if we get any more news regarding the Batman update, you know, Batman Part 2 update, I'll make sure I'll put it on the channel. Keep you guys fully informed and up to date with all the DC news, including, you know, Robert Pattinson's The Batman Part 2 and, you know, DCU from James Gunn as well. So, as The Batman Part 2 gears up for production, familiar faces are set to grace the screen once again. Robert Pattinson will don the cape and cowl as the Dark Knight. He was so good as Bruce Wayne and Batman. He was so good. I wasn't that keen when I first heard the casting of Robert Pattinson, but the guy proved me wrong, man. He was so good as the Batman. He really was. Reprising the Dark Knight, reprising his role from the 2022 hit. Additionally, Jeffrey Wright is expected to return as Jim Gordon. I didn't really like his casting all that much. Don't get me wrong, Jeffrey Wright, he's an A-class world performer. Like, he is so good. Don't get me wrong, but I don't really like his casting in this movie as Jim Gordon. But he was still really good, don't get me wrong. Adding to the star-studded ensemble. But the excitement doesn't end there. Zoe Kravitz, Andy Serkis, and Paul Dano are all potential returnees, adding further depth to the sequel's cast. Notably, Barry Keoghan's Joker may take on a more prominent role, following the tantalizing tease of alliances with the Court of Owls in the previous installment. That deleted scene, I can't believe they actually took that scene out of the movie. I remember the Batman came out, and then I think it was like a couple of weeks, maybe 2 or 3 weeks after the movie came out, they released that extended cut, that extended clip online of Batman in Arkham talking to Joker. And then we saw sort of Joker's face behind the glass, but it was blurred out, and it was so creepy. And the dialogue between them was incredible. Why they cut that from the movie, I have no idea. It was an incredible scene. And just seeing that blurred, kind of disfigured face of the Joker, man, it was just, oh my god, that was so creepy. But it was so well done. Amidst the buzz, rumours abound regarding new additions to the cast. Speculation suggests that Boyd Holbrook, known for his role in Logan, is in talks with Warner Brothers to portray Harvey Dent or Two-Face. It'd be interesting to see their grounded take on Harvey Dent. Obviously, the Batman, the first movie, it was very grounded take on the Batman mythos. Like, there was no supernatural elements. There was nothing like comic book material that was crazy out there that you wouldn't expect to see, you know, in our real world. And how they're going to do the take on Harvey Dent, I'm guessing similar to what they did in The Dark Knight, you know, from 2012, 2008 or 2012, whichever date it came out, I can't remember the date. But yeah, you know, that Harvey Dent that they did in the Dark Knight trilogy was incredible. Whether they're going to do something like that, I don't really know, but they're going to do a really grounded approach to Harvey Dent, and I can't wait to see what they do with that. So, as anticipation mounts, fans eagerly await official announcements and further development on the casting front for the Batman Part 2. Obviously, the Penguin series on HBO Max is also going to feed into the Batman Part 2, so that's going to be very interesting as well. So, we got this image here from the Batman. I love this. Like, the red tone, that kind of color palette that they had for the movie was really cool. You know, completely gave it that unique look. You know, made it different from all the other incarnations of Batman that we got previously. And the songs that they used as well, that kind of... melodramatic music that they use really kind of separated the tone as well. So the Batman story will continue. Part 2 marks the continuation of the rebooted Batman film series, with its announcement made amidst fanfare of CinemaCon in 2022, just a month after the original movie's debut. Initially set for October 2025 theatrical release, Warner Bros. Recently announced a shift in plans, pushing the sequel's premiere back to October 2nd, 2026. So we got more than 2 years to go before we're going to see this movie, which absolutely sucks, man. When you hear this, over 2 years away. But then again, I guess we got a lot of good DC comic book material coming out before the Batman Part 2. You know, we've got James Gunn's Superman. I was going to say Superman Legacy, but it's now called Superman. So we've got, you know, Creature Commandos as well. So we've got some good DC stuff coming before as well. So we're not going to be hard up for DC content. Directed by Matt Reeves, the Batman film carved their own path within DC's cinematic landscape as standalone DC Elseworld projects. The distinction separates them from the broader DC Universe continuity led by DC Studios co-CEOs James Gunn and Peter Safran. Yeah, so James Gunn absolutely 100% confirmed that even though the DC is rebooting to the DCU and is going along with that whole canon, the new canon of the DCU, Elseworld stories like Todd Phillips' The Joker Folie à Deux and the Batman Part 2 is going to be happening alongside the DCU, but it's just going to be separate. It's going to be its own Elseworld story. And, you know, so they're going to be happening at the same time. Hopefully it doesn't confuse fans, and hopefully they make it clear as to what's part of the DCU and what's Elseworld story. Otherwise, fans are going to get really confused with that. So as anticipation builds for the next chapter in this reimagined Batman saga, fans eagerly await further updates on the sequel's development and its place within the expanding DC cinematic universe. Stay tuned for more updates as the journey continues. The Batman became a critical and commercial success, kickstarting a planned trilogy by Reeves' newly established Batverse. The film grossed over $772 million worldwide against a $200 million budget and holds a critical rating of 85% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is incredible. The Batman also earned 3 Academy Award nominations. So yeah, $772 million is an incredible return on the box office, which is great. I would love to see the next one come out and almost do $1 billion. That would be fantastic. But the Batman is DC's crown jewel. The Batman is like Marvel's Spider-Man. You know, you can put out a Spider-Man movie or put out a Batman movie and they just generate tons of money. They're just cash cows, both of those characters. So meanwhile, a spin-off series for the Batman, The Penguin, is nearing its debut on HBO's streaming service. Starring Colin Farrell as the menacing Oswald Cobblepot, The Penguin has been described as an incredibly dark series by Farrell. Recently debuting its first trailer, The Penguin is set 1 week following the events of The Batman, and then The Batman Part 2 is going to lead on from the events of The Penguin. So you can go and watch The Batman, watch The Penguin, and then straight into The Batman Part 2, and they all link together as a cohesive story, which is really, really cool. But guys, with that down, we've talked a bit about The Batman here, so it's going to be going into... it's going to premiere on October 2nd, 2026, and it says up here it's going to be commencing production in April 2025. So we've got over 2 years to wait until the movie comes out, but it's going to start its production next April in 2025. So that's kind of where we are with the update on the Batman Part 2. But guys, jump into the comment section, let me know what you think about this. Are you excited for the Batman Part 2? And how do you feel having to wait another 2 years to see this movie? It kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Anyway, guys, put your thoughts in the comment section down below. And with that down, we're going to move on to our third topic of tonight's stream, which is this. Reactions to the first Omen praise horror prequel as terrifying, gory, and unrepentantly ghoulish. I like that. Unrepentingly ghoulish. So this is a movie I've really been looking forward to. These kind of movies that deal with, you know, like satanic forces, demonic demons, and all this kind of stuff. They really give me the creeps. They really, really do. That kind of possession kind of stuff. But we've had a wave of these kind of possession movies, you know, going back years. And every time they come out, they're never as good as what you think. The Nun Part 2. We had Exorcist the Believer, that was a massive letdown. And these kind of possession movies, they're just churned out at 100 miles an hour. There's so many of them. And normally they're kind of mediocre. But hearing the reviews, the first reactions and reviews for this movie, you know, we might be in for something special here, guys. So let's jump down and take a look at this. So, critics praise the first Omen, social media reactions pour in. So, while expectations for the first Omen may have been modest given the track record of the legacy horror sequels, the initial social media reactions to the director R. Kasha Stevenson's debut feature sorry if I butchered that name, have defied expectations. Critics have lauded the film for its genuine creepiness, highlighting surprisingly gruesome and disturbing moments that captivate audiences. Highlighting surprisingly gruesome and disturbing moments for captivating audiences. That's what you want. When you hear about a prequel Omen movie, you remember that first Omen movie from the 70s. The little kid who's like the Antichrist, and that woman jumps off the balcony of that building and like hangs herself in front of him. Dude, that was the creepiest thing ever. And to hear, you know, there's going to be a prequel movie to that set in the same universe. And yeah, it's just such a creepy premise, the Antichrist, and yeah, wow. So, Nell Tiger's free lead performance has also received widespread acclaim, with her portrayal earning praise as tremendous. So below, we've compiled some of the reactions along with a new 70s style trailer for your viewing pleasure. Yeah, guys, if you're interested in this movie, go onto YouTube right now. Well, you're already on YouTube, but go and check on YouTube after this video. There is a 70s style trailer for this movie that they made. They, you know, they edited the footage and made it look like a 70s movie, like the original. And they did a great job with it. It looks really, really cool. But let's go down and read these reactions and let's see what people are saying about this movie. Because it's absolutely, I thought this movie was going to come out. I thought, great, it's another possession movie. We've seen it 100 times. What can they do different? It's probably going to be mediocre. It's going to be one of those movies that you watch and then a week later you'll forget about it. But these reactions have completely changed my opinion. They've completely made me do a U-turn, and they've just changed my expectations for this movie. So, Mary Beth McAndrew says this: the first Omen stunned me, an incredibly thoughtful and shattering look at sexual assault in the Catholic Church while also providing the tension of the original film. This is the religious horror I've been waiting for, exquisitely repulsive, also 10 out of 10 possession homage. Exquisitely repulsive. That's not two words that I've ever heard put together before. But yeah, man, that's creepy as hell. Looking at these images as well. This image here in the bottom corner, obviously it makes the look of a demonic face. You got these lights and these candles, and then the nun kind of stood in the middle, and inside kind of like the demon's mouth. I think that's a really smart picture there that someone's made. So from Jeff Ewing, well, the first Omen is the real deal. Terrifying, a tremendous performance by Nell Tiger Free, and some of the best horror cinematography I've seen in a long time. Many scenes and choices were truly inspired. Absolutely dug it. Best horror cinematography I've seen in a long time. That sounds fantastic. Horror cinematography. That's what we want. We want some creepy scenes filmed like from a really great perspective, making it look creepy as hell. But another, you know, just incredible first reaction here. So, from Richard Whitaker, the first Omen, holy hell, I'd expect a horror like unrepentingly ghoulish from a small studio, not 20th century, graphic, grisly, and with a protracted homage to possession. So again, I expected this horror unrepentingly ghoulish. I'm not even sure what that means, but it sounds like it's scary and it's terrifying. And again, we have a bigger image here. The nun stood in the middle, and it looks like, you know, a beast's kind of mouth, like a demonic mouth here. And it's a great picture. But yeah, graphic, grisly, and with a protracted homage to possession. Sounds creepy as. So, the 1976 version of The Omen had some chilling and controversial scenes. Absolutely. Guys, if you have not seen the original 1976 The Omen movie, do check it out. It's incredible, that movie. It's just creepy as anything, and it's just really horrifying, some of that movie. And the first Omen raises the bar. The film is worthy prequel to the original. The first Omen is creepy, eerie, and unsettling. There's one scene in particular that is bound to have people talking. And I'm really curious now as to what that scene is. There's one scene in particular that is bound to have people talking. What is that scene going to be? I can't wait to see the movie and find out what that scene is going to be for myself. But then when I come out of the theatre, I'm going to be thinking, which scene was he talking about? If there's so many different scenes that were really creepy and unsettling, which particular scene are we talking about here? Unless it's going to be point blank obvious, like if there's a really horrific scene that stands out. So from Sarah Musnicki, I think that's how you say it. The entire cast is wholly committed here, but Nell Tiger Free commands the screen. The physicality she taps into in the first Omen is visceral. What is most damning, for better or worse, is how timely and timeless the overarching motivation is for the horror. So, from Jermaine Lucia, The first Omen is pretty solid, gory, intense, a nice little mystery in there too. It also weaves its way into the original in ways both expected and not. It's a little uneven and predictable, but when it hits hard, not for the faint of heart or weak of stomach. Yeah, so we saw in the trailer, there's obviously that scene where the pregnant woman is in the hospital and she's giving birth to what looks like, you know, the Antichrist, and there's like blood and kind of all that kind of stuff going on. So I'm assuming that's going to be a hard scene to watch with all the body horror and the blood and giving birth to the Antichrist. So that all looks, yeah, not so fun to watch. But yeah, man, this movie just sounds crazy. So we have the trailer here. This is the 70s trailer. Like I said, guys, after this video, check it out. There's a trailer for the first Omen in the style of a 70s style trailer. It's really cool what they've done there. So check it out if you haven't seen it. So the film, the synopsis says this for the movie. When a young American woman is sent to Rome to begin a life of service to the church, she encounters a darkness that causes her to question her own faith and uncovers a terrifying conspiracy that hopes to bring about the birth of evil incarnate. The first Omen stars Nell Tiger-Free, The Servant, and then these people here. I'm not going to try and pronounce their name, guys, because I'll butcher the names. So pause and have a read of the names and the cast list if you need to. The film is directed... Okay, again, we've got another cast list here, guys. Well, a crew list. So if you want to have a read of the crew list, the creatives behind the movie, have a pause and read of their names, guys. But instead of me trying to read it and butcher all the names and sounding stupid, well, more stupid than I already sound, the original movie, which still retains its power to chill, it's even more creepy every time I watch it. Told the story of American ambassador Gregory Peck and his wife Lee Remick, who slowly come to the realization that their adopted child Damien is the son of Satan. His mother was a jackal. The movie spawned a pair of inferior sequels, and the 2006 remake, which, while technically still well made, completely failed to recapture the dread of the 70s movie. The first Omen is set to arrive in theaters on April 5th. Do you plan on checking it out? Drop a comment down below. So it comes out in like 10 days or so, guys. But this movie is looking set to be really creepy, really chilling, all to do with the Antichrist and nuns and all that spiritual kind of stuff. It really creeps the hell out of me, these kind of movies and this subject matter. But like I said, if you haven't seen that original 1976 Omen movie, make sure you go and check that out before watching this. That movie, the 1976 version, is just... wow, that movie is just all kinds of just wrong. It's just, there's nothing right about it. So check that out, guys. But yeah, this movie has turned my expectations on my head. I could not be more excited to go and see this now. Before, I was feeling a bit meh about the whole thing. But let me know what you guys think about this. Reading these first reactions, has this got you more excited to go and watch the first Omen when it comes out in theaters next week? Let me know all your thoughts, comments, and opinions on this subject down in the comment section below, guys. And yeah. So, with that done, let's move on to the fourth and final main topic of tonight's stream. So, we're going to be jumping into the world... well, we're going to be jumping into the Monsterverse. So, Godzilla x Kong, New Empire, anticipated for impressive global box office debut this Easter. So, the movie literally comes out in less than 2 days here in the UK. Could not be more excited. I've booked my IMAX ticket right in the centre aisle in the perfect spot. Can't wait to see this movie. I'm just going to be... awe-inspired by titans fighting each other in the city. But let's go down and let's see what the predictions are for the opening weekend of the financials at the box office for Godzilla x Kong. So, as the release of Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire looms, just a couple of days away, early forecasts for the sequel's worldwide opening weekend are starting to emerge, and the outlook is shaping up to be positively rawsome. I really like that, positively rawsome. I really, really want this movie to do great financially. If we have a Godzilla -1 that did great financially, and then we have this movie coming out and doing great financially as well, the Godzilla franchise is going to be in the best spot it's ever been in. And I want more sequels within the Monsterverse going forward, because I love this. I love this franchise. It's ridiculous. There's nothing normal about this. It's just ridiculous, over the top, crazy. Turn your brain off, eat some popcorn, watch some big monsters fighting. There's plot holes and the narrative is all over the place, but I don't really care. As long as there's huge titans fighting each other, that's all we need. So, as Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire prepares to storm theaters during the extended Easter weekend, early projections suggest it's poised to dominate the competition with a global box office debut estimated at around 135 million. That would be a fantastic opening for this movie. 135 million, that'd be great. So despite the pandemic's lingering effects on the theatre's attendance, Godzilla vs. Kong proved its resilience with a commendable 48 million haul over the 5-day launch, even while simultaneously streaming for free on HBO Max for subscribers. That was ridiculous. The fact that they had this movie day and date release, where it was streaming on HBO Max and in theaters at the same time, they cost themselves so much box office revenue. It's ridiculous. Whoever made that decision, they should have been fired. You remember that year when all of Warner Brothers movies went to streaming and release in theaters at the same time, sort of during that later phases of the pandemic. It was just ridiculous. So, however, according to Deadline, its successor is expected to face a softer international launch, targeting 80 million to 85 million abroad and domestic debut of 50 million. This marks a departure from Godzilla vs. Kong's robust 105 million international opening in 2021. So one significant factor contributing to this shift is China's changing market dynamics. Hollywood films no longer enjoy the same level of success in the region, impacting Godzilla x Kong's potential in the market where its predecessor thrived. Yeah, I mean, the Chinese market is absolutely huge when it comes to box office and it comes to movies. So, if the Chinese market isn't as good as what it used to be, this could have a massive financial impact at the end of the day on the box office for Godzilla x Kong. Let's hope it doesn't come to that, and let's hope that it's kind of minimized. But, like I say, because we want the financials to be good so we get more of these movies. But we'll have to wait and see how much, China does affect the box office for this movie. So, adding to the challenge, Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire, must contend with formidable competition from Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Despite mixed critical reception, positive word of mouth is expected to propel Ghostbusters to an estimated 15 million in the US box office earnings over the Easter weekend. I've just been to see that movie yesterday myself. I thought it was okay. It was a little bit lackluster for me, but I can see why people enjoy it. Like, younger kids might enjoy it, but for older adults, I think it's a little bit lackluster. It's a little bit, kind of lacking, if you like. But I'm not going to go off on a whole tangent about that. Go and see it, guys, if you haven't. It's worth seeing. So, director Adam Wingard, in the video below, reflects on the possibility of his return for another movie in the franchise, stating, "Only time will tell." He acknowledges the allure of the rounding out the series as a trilogy, a notion that resonates with audiences' expectations after 2 successful films. So, Adam Wingard says this: "We'll see. It really depends on how the movie does. I think there's a lot of really cool ideas we have about where we could go with it. I'm open to it, excited for what the future brings." So guys, I'm not going to play the clip because the audio will mess up the audio that I have set up for this stream, but that's basically what he said up here. We'll see, it really depends on how the movie does. I think there's a lot of really cool ideas that we have about where we could go with it. I'm open to it and excited for what the future brings. So it looks like they've already had discussions to some degree behind the scenes about where they're going to take the franchise in the future, which is exciting to know that they're still thinking about going forward, and they're not thinking about ending the MonsterVerse anytime soon. I don't think they ever would because, these movies generate money. They don't generate massive amounts of money like Marvel or Star Wars amounts of money, but they generate enough money to warrant them continuing the MonsterVerse into the future. And I put this picture, obviously we've got the trailer here for Godzilla x Kong, but I'm assuming most of you guys have already seen that by now. And I found this really cool picture here on Twitter earlier, which I just put into this article for you guys. So we have Kong kind of coming up from the ground. You see his massive gauntlet, his hand on his gauntlet, and it looks like he's grabbing a phone booth, and tourists are kind of taking pictures of it. And I thought this image was really, really fun. I would love for them to do something like this in my local town. They never will, but I thought it was cool. You just see Kong's head in his giant hand, grabbing a phone booth, kind of coming up from the ground. I thought it was just a really fun image to include here, guys. So, Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire rampages into theaters on March 29th. Less than 2 days away. Could not be more excited for this. Yeah, I'm trying to avoid all spoilers. Guys, by the way, if you go onto Twitter, there is spoilers and footage all over the place. So be careful when you're looking up on Twitter anything to do with this movie because there's spoilers all over the place. I'm going to try and stay off Twitter as much as I can in the next 48 hours. And I'm going to try and stay away from reviews and, first reactions because I don't want my own opinion to be kind of tainted by what other people think before I watch it myself. But guys, jump into the comment section. Let me know what you think about this. What do you think about it potentially garnering a 135 million opening Easter weekend? Do you think it's possible? Do you think it's going to make less? Do you think it's going to make more? What do you think about this, guys? Jump into the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on this estimate for the box office projections of Godzilla x Kong. I can't wait to see what you have to say about that, guys. And with that down, that comes to the end of tonight's stream. That's the 4 topics that we've discussed. The Batman, we've talked about Pirates of the Caribbean, we've talked about the first Omen, sorry, and we finished it off with Godzilla X Kong and its box office Easter projections. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and if you are here after the live stream finishes, put a like, subscribe if you enjoy my content, and again, thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate it. I will see you guys soon.